what's up, guys? Figured I'd show you a little bit of my world. These were my mom's. She was Cherokee French, and she collected those little Indian dolls. There's my Amy. Amy wanted a piano her whole life, and up at Josh's school, the music teacher said they were getting rid of this one. It's an old Kimball. So me and my sons went up and picked it up and brought it home for Amy. I like that. The teddy bear sleeps in his little bear skin and sleeps very well, I am told. Last night I slept in my little bear skin and caught a hell of a cold. Then that's Gary Hill right there. He's the guy that talked me down when I finally got a hold of that guy that threatened my wife and kids out in Arizona. Gary was like a father to me. It's Mickey and Paula. They were friends of mine in Arizona. They're in Hawaii there on Diamond Head Mountain to spread Gary's ashes when Gary passed away. There's my Henny Penny. She's my little snuggle buddy. This was a picture my grandfather gave my mother. It's got certification that goes with it. And then this painting was done by a man I admire very much. He's got a YouTube channel called Hard Intentions. His name is Mitch Smiley. He did 38 years in California prison system. He did that one. And he did that one. And anybody that's into English bikes, oh, where'd it go? Amy took it. Where'd it go? Amy must have took it down. Then this one here, that's the only time I shed a tear in prison. The guy who drew that, his name was Perez. So you can see his name there. I wanted to get something for my mom for her birthday, and I knew Perez could draw real good, so I went to him and I gave him almost $40 in commissary, and I gave him my mother. She was Cherokee French. She got benefits, tax cuts and stuff like that, but I can't turn it around while I'm videoing. She used to send money to St. Joseph's Indian School, and they'd send her cards all the time. And that was a card she sent me while I was in prison. It was called Cheyenne Warrior. And I gave Perez the card so he could draw that. He come back like 25 minutes later, had it, and it was rolled up. He said, "I'm done." And I'm thinking, man, 25 minutes, I gave you $40 in commissary, and you're saying you're done. And I opened it up, and I was like, wow. I mean, it literally took him like 25 minutes to draw that. And Perez was an older guy. He spent many years in prison. Well, long enough that his daughter was a young girl when he went in, and she had grown up and he had grandchildren and his wife. And the night before he was supposed to get out, I was talking to him. He was showing me pictures of his family, and he was always carrying a little Bible around with him. And all he had to do was go to sleep and wake up, and he was going home after 20-something years. And I woke up next morning, and you could tell something was going on. And I called one of the guys over to me, and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And they said, Perez died last night. And I said, what? Somebody kill him or something? They said, no. He died in his sleep. He just went to sleep and didn't wake up. All the man had to do was wake up and he was going home. And I had a couple associates hold security on my door, and I closed my door, and I had some tears roll down my cheeks over that. He did every damn bit of his time and was just getting ready to go home. But my mom, she loved it when she got it, and she had it professionally matted. And then this here is extremely special to me. I sent one of these to Dolly. Judy, there's been a few people I've sent this to. I wrote this for my mother in 1991, right before I got sentenced. My initials are down. Well, you can't see my initials. It's just a little lower where that bear is there. But it's a poem I wrote for my mother, and I called it Mama Bear. And I had forgotten all about this poem. The best work of art I ever did, I did in prison. And it was on a big D-sized piece of paper. We were on lockdown. And I asked the guard if he'd bring me some paper. And them old calendars that used to go on people's desks, he brought me one of those, and the whole backside was wide open, so I had hundreds of hours in there. It's the only thing I ever drew in my life that I was 100% satisfied with. And I mailed it to my dad and asked him to give it to my ex-wife, and he said, screw her, I'm keeping it, she'll lose it. And about 2 months before me and my dad quit talking, I asked him for that drawing, and he had no idea where it was. This poem I wrote for my mother, I had completely forgotten about it. And when my mom died, my stepfather gave me an envelope, and I opened it up, and this was inside. And he said, your mother kept this in her bedside table drawer till the day she died. This was precious to her. It was published in Belleville Area College newsletter, or so I was told by, there was ladies that used to come in and do tutoring. I didn't need no tutoring, but it was an excuse to get out of the cell block. And I wrote this the week and a half before I went to Menard Correctional Center. I started working on it a couple days before my sentencing hearing. The plea deal had already been made. I knew I was going to prison. But I wrote real light with pencil, and then I would erase the words, and I wanted the words to be just right, like a song. The words matter to me, or when I give somebody a card, the words matter to me. And there was a guy in the cell block, and he must have been looking over my shoulder like I was looking over his one day, and I caught him trying to send this out to somebody else, and I said, hey man, that's mine. Those are my words. And I should have been proud that he thought they were good enough to send to somebody else, but I felt like he was taking something from me, and we got in a fight over it, and I knotted his head up pretty good and tore it up. But my mother kept this in her drawer till the day she died, and here lately I've been sharing it with women that I see as good mothers. I'm pretty picky about who I give it to. And I tell them, go ahead and share it with any other mama bears you know. But, yeah, my mom kept this in her bedside table till the day she died. From the day she got it, my stepdad said it was precious to her. And That's the difference between my mother and my father in my life. My mom kept this poem I wrote her that I had forgotten all about. And the best piece of artwork I ever did in my life. My father lost it and don't know where it's at. But I'll read it to you. It says, Mama Bear. A cub was born on a summer's day. He had to run and he had to play. Safe in the world without a care, all because of Mama Bear. Time passed by and learning began. He had to study nature's plan. Left at the school without a care, all because of Mama Bear. The scrapes, bruises, hurts, and tears, the sadness, sorrows, pains, and fears, barely escaping all of life's snares, all because of Mama Bear. The older he got, further he'd roam, looking for adventure, forgetting his home. No matter how lonely, love's still there, all because of Mama Bear. Then one day, hunters had struck. Our young cub ran out of luck. Thrown in a cage, kept far from view, he learned violence, hate, and emptiness too. But the love remains, it'll always be there. And then I went, thanks, and I put dot, 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 like you're saying, thanks to the love of Mama Bear. And then it says MV 1991 right down here. Here, I can take it out and show you. But I sent this to Dolly, and she said, I'm not a mother. And I said, no, but the way you took care of your parents when they were sick, you show them the love that a mother would show. I really believe, well, it's been my life experience, that there's no love stronger on this earth than a mother's. If the mother's mentally stable, in her right mind, no love stronger, except for God's. That's why I feel, if the woman's right in the head, she's not on drugs or nothing, the child should always be with the mother, because, see, down here it's got my initials. It was 92. But, yeah, because I committed the crime in 90. By the time I got sentenced, it was early 92. But, yeah, and I did all the drawings on it, the roses and the vines, and this paper's turning yellow. Haven't been arrested since I was in jail on that case. But my mother kept that folded up in an envelope. My stepdad said it was precious to her. I didn't open the envelope till I got in the car after the funeral, and, well, I'll tell you, the tears come rolling down my cheeks. And now I share it with people. I feel bad about knocking the hell out of that guy, but I did. I felt like he was taking something from me. This was something special I made for my mother, and him copying it over my shoulder, it really pissed me off. I should have been honored that he thought it was good enough to send to his people. But at the time, I really worked hard on that. I kept changing the words. I wanted it to be as... Somebody else could have probably made it better, but I wanted to make it as good as I could make it. And it mattered to my mother. She kept it. And I know that the people that I have shared it with since I started sharing it, I know she would approve of them. Phoenix Fireside, Dolly, I sent her one. Her kindness and compassion is just She truly cares about other people. Miss Judy, she used to be a prison guard. She's become a good friend. Uh, and there's some other ladies I know, some gals I've known over 40 years that are just exceptional mothers. Have sacrificed a lot and raised their children and been good mothers. And someday it'll go to my daughter Tiffany, but as long as Amy's alive, it stays with her. She's definitely a mama bear too. Me and Amy, our youngest son Joshua is ours. But the other three, Nathan was 2 weeks old when I met my ex-wife, and he was calling me dad, and I was calling him son by the time we split up, and I didn't want to. I just finished what I started. I didn't want to be like, oh, well, I'm not dating your mom no more. See you, kids, you know. I had a guy one time on YouTube tell me I was a fool for raising somebody else's kid. And I said, well, I bonded with him. I love him like he's one of my own. And he said, like I said, you're a fool. And I wanted to snap out on him, but I didn't because this is my family. So yeah, we got this. They got this for Amy for Christmas. All the kids can send pictures to it, and it automatically uploads them onto here. It goes off at night and comes in every morning. That's my grandson, Liam. He's a good-hearted boy. He's got a very good heart. I hope the world don't beat that heart out of him. He's a real good kid. But that's mine and Amy's son, Joshua, and his fiancee, Katana. They'll be getting married here soon. Josh is the one I held up to the sky like the Lion King. That's my grandson, Liam, again. He's a good boy. Really proud of him. That thing turns pretty slow. That's my son, Seth. He's my second oldest. He's the one just bought a new house, and he's getting married here in May to Kristen. That's Seth and Kristen there. She owns a beauty shop where they cut hair. She's a sweet girl. She's down to earth. She's not. We like her a lot, and she's good for my son. That's my granddaughter Harley, and her brother Liam. Last Halloween. That's Seth and Kristen there. She's a sweet girl. She donates money all the time to different charities, and she owns her own beauty shop. That's my dad in the background there with my granddaughter. That's little Nora there. There's Liam and Harley there. Can't believe how fast they're growing up. That's my son Seth and Kristen's bald cats. I always feel bad for them. They gotta be cold. They remind me of Mr. Bigglesworth off Austin Powers. Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. That's me and Liam. You could tell I was still on the pills and stuff then. I was real skinny. Real skinny. Wasn't much left. That's Katana and Josh and their friend up in South Dakota. Josh moved out when he was 18, and me and Amy were upset. And He was the last one to leave the nest. That's Joshie Katana. She reminds me a lot of my wife, Amy. She's going to be good for him. And he's going to be good. All my sons treat their women good. Uh, that's my daughter, Tiffany Rose, with little Harley in the background there. My, my, and that's me and Amy's niece. They live over in New Zealand. Caitlin and Nadia. Their mother went over as a missionary and met a man over there in New Zealand, fell in love with him, and got married. That's my grandson, Liam, on it's a motorcycle ride. It looks like a cop motorcycle. That's Harley when she was a little girl. Or no, it's not. That's Nora. I can tell by those dimples. That's my little articulate one. That's our son Joshua when he was little. It was hard when he left. He was my right hand. The kid did everything with me. It's really hard when he left. And I told Amy, don't worry, he'll be back. They all come back. That's my daughter Tiffany's boyfriend, and the daughter that he had before he met my daughter. Her name's Graceland. That's a picture that Kristen made of her and Seth and their cats and their dog. But I told Amy, I said, don't worry, he'll be back. Every time I talk to him, I'm like, how you doing? You doing okay? You need any money? And no, his bank, that's my oldest son, Nathan. He's the one that biologically isn't my son, but in my heart, he's just as much as the others. And then that's my son, Seth. Nathan served in Afghanistan. I don't think we've had a really just war since World War II, but soldiers don't make wars. They just fight in them. And we're proud of his service. He was infantry, did mortars. It's my daughter, Tiffany Rose. She looks just like my mother. And she's a lot like my mother. My mother was a big part of raising these kids too, and I'm glad. She told my daughter Tiffany, she said, you always have your own job and make your own money. That way, if things get bad, you can leave and you don't need to depend on nobody. That's Amy and my daughter Tiffany when Tiffany was little. My sweet Amy. Opening Christmas presents. It's my, I would say it's my Uncle Jim's cat, but I think it's a new cat that my son Seth and Kristen got. That's my grandson Liam. That's an older picture. He's such a good boy. Very kind-hearted kid. That's another one of Seth and Kristen's cats. That one unfortunately passed away, though. That's me and Amy. I was on drugs then, too. Skinny. Unhealthy as hell. So our son Josh up at his apartment in South Dakota. They're getting married in the Black Hills. They know the Black Hills are important to me. It's Liam and Harley. The reason the Black Hills are important to me, my hero growing up as a young boy, I had two of them. The soccer player, well, the football player, Pele, good old number 10. That's little Nora. She tells Santa Claus that I'm being good, and I tell Santa she's being good. We look out for each other like that. But Pele was a hero of mine. That's my son Seth. He come home with that neck tattoo. I said, what the hell are you doing? He said, what? I said, you look more gangster than me, boy. Look more like a convict than I do. What the hell did you do that for? I want it one, Dad. He's doing good, though. He drives a forklift for the union. He's a good guy. Real good guy. That's little Nora. But the reason, see, my old name on my old channel used to be Tashuka Whitco. And it's not spelt exactly. My other hero was Crazy Horse, the Lakota Native American. And Crazy Horse was always my hero since I was a little boy. My mother's people were Cherokee, but Crazy Horse, I always greatly admired him. Well, his name, spelt in Lakota, or in the Dakota language, is T-A-S-H-U-N-K-E, and then W-I-T-K-O, Tasunke Whitco. It's Crazy Horse in the Sioux language. And on my first channel, a guy, his YouTube name was Dakota623 or something, but he said, you ought to change your name. And I said, well, I don't spell it exactly like Crazy Horse's name was spelled. And he goes, oh, no, that's not why I'm telling you should change your name. See, I spelled it different because no Dakota Indian has taken Crazy Horse's name since he was murdered. And for me to do so would be, even though that's what my street name was, my friends called me Crazy Horse when I was younger because I was a little crazy and because they knew I admired Crazy Horse so much. But I don't deserve that man's name in any way, shape, or form. But he said, no, you need to change your name to a Kikita Shante Waste. And I said, well, I know what a Kikita means. And he said, what's it mean? And I said, it means warrior. And he said, you're right. I said, I don't know what a Kikita Shante Waste means, though. And he said, it means a warrior with a good heart. He said, you know, it seems like a lot of the fights you got into were over somebody else. And some of them were for good reasons. And Amy, God bless her, she one of my best patches. She tried to get it made for me. She got the last two words spelt wrong, but it's the thought that counts. The Kikita Waste Shante. It should be a Kikita Shante Waste, but I know what it's supposed to mean. Then it's got my last name on there. And then this is Hard Intentions, the channel that I was telling you about. Mitch did those paintings while he was in prison. And then this is an in remembrance of Patch for Travis Christian. We called him Christian. He was a family friend's son. One of the best riders I've ever seen in my life. The kid was incredible. He could take his motorcycle. His dad would put logs standing straight up and down. And he'd pop that clutch and from just on the back wheel, jump from log to log, balancing the bike and working the clutch, jumping from log to log. And then this is motto I live by. You know, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I didn't see shit, I didn't hear shit, and I sure as hell ain't gonna say shit. And then this one's very special to me too. A guy, they called him Injun Joe. Mickey over there, I showed you a picture of him spreading Gary's ashes on Diamond Head. It was his brother, Joe. Joe was in the Hog Riding Fools MC, and he died when the COVID hit. The COVID took Joe. And the president of the club asked me, you know, did you get a in memory of Patch? And I was like, no. I mean, I know the motorcycle club rules. You don't ask for something like that. It's for the brothers, and I'm not a brother. But he knew that I loved Joe and that Joe loved me, and he sent me one anyways. So I got it up high as a sign of respect. But yeah, it's in memory of Joe. He was a Marine too. That's why it's got the Semper Fi. And it's got HRFMC, Hog Riding Fools MC. And then the FFFF is Fools Forever, Forever Fools. Rest in peace. And it's got his birthday and his death date. The president of that club has got a headstone for every one of his brothers that have died, and he's getting pretty filled up. But that patch is very dear to me. Whenever I got my custom Harley, I had a wonderful dream about him. His brother's dead now too. Mickey's dead, Paula's dead, Gary's dead, Joe's gone. But I dreamed I went by Mickey's in Arizona on my bike, and I told Mickey, I said, God, Mickey, I sure miss Joe. And he said, what do you mean you miss him? I said, he died, Mickey. He died of COVID. And Mickey said, no, he didn't. He's up on the hill. So I went running up the hill where his travel trailer was, and I get up to the top of the hill, and there he is standing there. He's got this big old smile on his face. And he said, I heard you got a custom. I said, yeah, I did, Joe. He goes, go get it. Go get it. We'll go for a ride. And I ran back down the hill, and I got down at the bottom of the hill, and my bike wasn't there. There was a Honda Goldwing sitting there. I'm like, where the hell's my bike? And then I was like, screw it. I was so excited about seeing Joe and going riding with Joe that I hopped on that Honda Goldwing and took off up the hill on it. And right as I was getting to the top of the hill, I woke up. It was really a beautiful dream. It sucked I woke up before we could ride, but it's almost like, I like to think it was Joe's way of letting me know that he still sees what's going on, you know. But yeah, Joe was like a big brother to me. But I'm not in the Hog Riding Fools MC. I think they're all a good bunch of guys, and I'm honored that Redbeard sent that to me, but I'm not in that club. That's why I didn't ask for one. I know the rules. I did a video about learning my lesson about MCs when I was real young and green. And then on the back, I got the Native American with the flaming headdress, you know, the feathers are like flames. And then, out of respect to the clubs, I kind of cocked my rocker. Normally, this is your top rocker up here. And in a motorcycle club, you would have your club name